The number one thing I see people do wrong on the range is their grip. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Pilot Patriot channel. Now recently I decided to do a series of videos that really gets back to the basics. Now this is going to be for new shooters, inexperienced shooters, those kind of people. We're going to go over things like grip, stance, trigger control, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we upload new videos. Now this video today, we're going to talk about the proper way to grip a handgun. Now, it doesn't matter if you've been shooting your whole life, you grew up around guns. I've seen people that say that to me and they're still getting that grip wrong. Now, your grip is one of those fundamental things that could throw off the rest of your shooting. Maybe you're just naturally a good shooter and you can go out to the range and get those 8-inch groups all day long. But I promise you, if you can get that grip right, you're going to shrink those groups down a lot. Now, I've seen a lot of really interesting things when you talk about grip. I've seen people do the old, that right there, you see that one a whole lot, with that hand just supporting on the bottom. That is not the right way to grip your handgun. I've seen the wrist support grip, that kind of thing. No, don't do that. And obviously, you're going to see things like you see in the movies. You're going to see something like that right there. Now, one other thing you will see quite a bit is you'll see people that want to get that thumb back here behind the gun. Now, there are a couple reasons why this is not good. One obvious one is that the way this gun operates is that slide comes back with a whole lot of force when you fire the gun. So if your thumb is back here behind the slide and that slide comes back and bites that thumb, you're going to have a really bad day. So you definitely don't want to do that. Now today we're going to be using my new M&P Pro. I've been looking for a good reason to show this thing off, so this is the first time you're going to see it in one of my videos. I have done some upgrades to it. You'll see that. Done the grip tape on the grips. I know if y'all have seen my video of that. If you haven't, you need to go check it out. I put it right here at the top of the screen. Now, a good handgun grip starts with a good one-handed grip, and we're going to get started with that right now. Now, just to show you, this handgun is unloaded. And the first thing you want to think about is you want to get that web of your hand up as high on that back strap as possible. You can get it way on up there. Just press it into the top of that back strap there. You're going to wrap your bottom 3 fingers around. Now you want to get those 3 fingers up high and tight against that trigger guard the best you can. The higher your grip is on the gun, the more control you're going to have over that gun. And as far as your thumb goes, you just want to rest your thumb straight along the side of the gun. And one thing a lot of people don't think about is where you're putting that pressure at on the gun. Now, you don't want to put all your pressure here on your fingertips, because what that's going to do is that's going to pull the gun to the left. You want to put all your pressure right here on the center of these fingers, pushing straight back into the butt of your hand. That's going to give you the most stable grip where you're not pulling the gun one way or the other while you're shooting. A nice even pressure straight through the middle to the back of your hand. And obviously, if we flip around here, you never want to put your finger inside the trigger guard until you're ready to shoot. You want to keep that finger just rested right along the frame of the gun, straight forward. And remember, always keep your muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Now, like I said before, your main concern is controlling this gun. No matter what size gun you're shooting, small, big, what caliber, it doesn't matter. We all know that every gun is going to want to recoil. It's going to want to jump right out of your hand. And your goal is to try to control that and keep it as flat as possible while shooting. Now that's why you want to get that hand up as high as you can on that back strap. What that's going to do is that's going to put most of that force straight back into your hand and give you the ability to hold that gun as flat as possible. Now just imagine if you had your hand way down here on the grip where you're not up high, you're lowering that pivot point. So when that gun starts to recoil, it has a lot more room to move because you're lowering that pivot point down halfway down the grip. Obviously, if you get way down here, it gets even worse. One thing you're going to see when you start doing that is you're going to start getting malfunctions, because this gun isn't designed to do all that movement. Your goal is to get that webbing of that hand high and tight, get full control of that gun, and try to prevent that recoil the best you can. Now, your proper grip starts with a good one-handed grip, but most of us shoot with two hands. So when you get that second hand in there, there's a few things you need to think about. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times you'll see something like this, or like this, or like this, and none of those are right, and there's a reason for that. Now think about it. If your hand is right here, that's basically nothing more than a supported one-handed grip. This hand does nothing to control that gun. All it's doing is giving you some support on the bottom, but it's not helping you control that gun at all. Same thing with that wrist grip that you see. That may help you lock that wrist, and having a good locked wrist is important, but it's not as important as getting that hand up here and really controlling that gun. So one thing you see right off bat is you see this gap that's created in between my fingers and the butt of my hand here. What you want to do with that second hand is you want to get the butt of your support hand and you want to put it right there and fill that gap. Your goal is to get as much of your hand on that gun as possible so you can control it. So you're going to take the butt of that support hand, you're going to put it right there in that gap. You're going to wrap those bottom four fingers around over top of your strong hand fingers. And just like the one-handed grip, you want to get it up as high on that trigger guard as possible. That's just going to help you get more support. Now with that support hand thumb, you're just going to lay it straight along the frame. You'll hear a lot of people say thumbs forward. That's a good way to think about it. And with that strong hand thumb, you're just going to rest it right on top of that support hand thumb. Now as you can see, when you have this grip right here, I have that gun completely encased in my hands. I have full control of this gun. There's not one part of my hands that isn't touching the firearm. Give you the view from the other side. As you can see, those fingers are high and tight. The webbing between my thumb and forefinger are up high. Got those fingers forward. I have as much of my hands as possible completely encasing that firearm. And that's what a proper two-handed grip looks like. And one thing to consider with your thumbs, especially on smaller guns, is you want to make sure that this thumb isn't rested completely on that slide lock there, because if it is, what could happen is after you fire that last round, when your slide is supposed to lock back, if your thumb is rested on there holding it down, it's not going to allow your slide to lock back, and you may think you have an extra round in the gun when it's really empty. So what I like to do, I still want to get most of it on the gun, but I'll just rest it on top of those fingers there, more like that. And as you can see, I still have complete control of that gun. I have as much of my fingers and my hands on that gun as possible. Now, a couple other considerations with a semi-automatic handgun, especially with smaller guns, is a couple things that you may see different. You may see people do something like this, what they're getting these three fingers up high and they're taking the index finger and they're wrapping it around the trigger guard. You do see that quite a bit, and I don't really see a problem with that, especially on smaller guns. When you're really trying to get as much of your hand on there as possible, that's a good way to do it, as long as it doesn't interfere with that trigger finger. And I did forget to bring a smaller gun with me today, but I should be able to demonstrate it just fine on this gun. One concern people have, let's just imagine that this is a smaller gun. One concern people have is when they have smaller grips, they can't get that pinky on the grip. And that concerns them. They think they can't shoot that gun as well. They need to get a bigger gun to be able to shoot it properly. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that pinky so much. It is nice to get all the fingers on the grip. That helps. But there's no reason you can't still wrap that pinky around the bottom and still get your good grip. So don't let that pinky hanging off scare you. You can still get a perfectly good grip without that pinky fully on the grip. Now for you revolver guys, the grip is no different for a revolver. You still want to get the webbing of that hand up as high on that back strap as possible. You still want to get these fingers up as high as possible underneath that trigger guard. A lot of revolvers actually have this undercut here that lets you get those fingers even higher up. And then when you go back to the two-handed grip, it's exactly the same. You're still filling that gap. You're still getting these fingers all the way under there. The one difference is you want to make sure you don't rest that thumb on the cylinder, because you don't want to prevent it from being able to function like it's supposed to. So you are probably going to get these thumbs down a little bit lower. It's even acceptable to switch these thumbs. If you want to switch those thumbs like that, do something like this, that's okay. especially with revolvers, what that's going to do is allow you to operate that hammer with your support hand without messing up that good one-handed grip that you already have. So now if I'm working that hammer with my strong hand, I'm partially breaking my grip. If I'm doing it with my support hand thumb, I can still fire as fast as I want to without breaking that good one-handed grip that I already have. Now that you've learned how to get a proper grip on your gun, go out to the range. I guarantee you'll start to see tighter groups. You'll start to shoot a whole lot better. Now go out to the range and have some fun. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video has helped you out if you're new to shooting or if you're just looking for a way to shoot better. Hopefully this video is showing you how to get the proper grip on your handgun. Now, like I said, this is going to be a series. We're going to do some other fundamentals type videos, basic handgun shooting videos. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we upload new videos. And if you want to help support the channel, you can do that over at pilotpatriotapparel.com. Get you some really cool patriotic and Second Amendment t-shirts. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and happy shooting.